Hi everyone, and welcome back to season 8 of the Propcast. I'm Louisa Dickens, your host of the Propcast and co-founder of LMRE, the global PropTech recruitment and search consultancy. The aim of each episode is to introduce you to a PropTech innovator and discuss how their work has created a shift in focus when it comes to digitalizing the built environment. If you're interested in finding out more about PropTech or applying for a job in this space, or keen to know who the big players are that are moving and shaking the real estate industry, we have you covered. And we'll be bringing you an episode each week to connect you to the VCs, PropTech startups, and real estate professionals from around the globe. Today on the Propcast, we are talking about digital transformation within real estate, and we are joined by two of Berkadia's leading ladies, Laura Smith, Managing Director, and Neda Fields, VP of Product Management. So welcome to the show, Laura and Neda.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Now, for those who are not familiar with Berkadia, get familiar. So Berkadia is a joint venture of Berkshire, Hathaway, and Jefferies Financial Group. Berkadia is a leader in the commercial real estate industry, offering a robust suite of services to their multifamily commercial property clients. Now, why I think Berkadia is a perfect business to have on this podcast is a balance between sort of the real estate and finance world. And on today's show, we'll be hearing about how Berkadia has gone about the digital transformation through not only internal product development, use of external technologies, and then new data strategy, but we'll also be speaking with Laura and Ned about how they've gone about attracting this new diverse skilled workforce as they've sort of gone from strength to strength. And we're going to be talking about that culture because every person who I've met at different events from Berkadia and conferences have really just really stood out. So I'm really looking forward to this podcast. So without further ado, we're going to get started. And why we start with Laura, obviously talk us through your managing director. You joined about 3.5 years ago. An incredible point to join a business, by the way, after everything that's happened in the last 3 years, after 30 years it was a long time at your previous business, Love Funding Association, Washington. So yeah, let our audience know about this whole journey of yours.
Thank you again for having us. Really enjoying this. My journey to Berkadia. People ask why Berkadia. I left Love Funding after the company was purchased by a bank, and the culture started to change. It was a family-run business from the 1870s, and it, once a bank purchased it, it just became more of a bank than of a family business. So with that in mind, I decided it was time to move on and had offers from multiple companies. But the one thing that stood out with Berkadia that was so clear to me after meeting the senior management team was the unique culture of Berkadia. The company is just, it blew me away. The culture and the technology and the people. You don't work alone. I brought a team on board with me. And all three members of my team, we just loved it, and we thought it was the right place for us to land. And the training that they offer for the employees is extraordinary. I'll let Neda talk a little bit about that too. But we're all being trained by the Arbinger Institute.
That's absolutely perfect. We're going to hear a lot more about this like a bit later. But Neda, what about you? You've obviously come from KPMG, spent quite a bit of time in audit, then I think web development, and now you're obviously on the product side. So obviously switching and different career pathways, which so many people do now. People change job roles about every sort of 3 years now, which is crazy. But you're coming up to about nine years at Berkadia. And what's led you to, I guess, your role, and talk our audience through a bit more about your sort of role as well?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. I joined Berkadia almost 9 years ago because we decided to relocate to the Philadelphia area to be close to family. And honestly, I was also really impressed with Berkadia's leadership, and that's the reason why I chose to join the company. And the best part about Berkadia is that I have had the opportunity to do several different roles here, and I almost accidentally landed in product. But basically, starting with compliance, I was able to really get to know everybody in the company and form a lot of relationships within the company. And then slowly moved into the data and data science group, and then evolved into the product team to be able to continue to develop the data analytics tools that Berkadia has been developing in the last several years.
Okay, beautiful. Now, whilst we're on the topic, so you just mentioned obviously product, mentioned data. Let's talk about digital transformation. Now, real estate is one of the industries that is just beginning to go through obviously the tech transformation piece. Where does Berkadia start with this, Neda? And when did you first start, I guess, the strategy as well? You've probably seen it change a hell of a lot over the last sort of 9 years as you've gone throughout different teams. I've met wonderful Eric, Thor at different events. I know you guys are very sort of present in the space. So when did you first sort of start it? Talk us through a bit more about what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Berkadia realized that we are sitting on a lot of data. We service over $350 billion in our servicing portfolio right now. So we have a lot of data through that. We have, over 100 mortgage bankers and investment sales advisors in the company. So we touch a lot of deals. So really where Berkadia's transformation started is with the data.
Yeah.
And what we realized is that we have the ability to gather a lot of data from really all of the markets in the United States. And we combine that with some demographics and other economics and just built out a big base for us to build our tools on. And so slowly, as we build that out, we started to see how do we bring value with this data and how do we transform Laura and the rest of our managing directors into advisors, more so than transaction managers. So that's really was the pivotal point, is realizing how do we help our clients to make sure that they have the right investment strategies through data-driven analytics.
Yeah. Can you give an example of like a couple of your clients, so the audience sort of gets a familiarity for like sort of extent of them?
So the types of clients that we work with are, real estate investors.
Yes.
And I hope I understood your question correctly, but
Yes,
we're working with, yeah, and Laura can speak to that very well as well. But we have real estate investors of all sizes, mid-market, and also institutional investors. So we do have a wide-ranging multifamily investors, as well as we'll deal with some other property types. But Laura, maybe you can speak to that a little bit.
Sure. And a really big shout out, because honestly, our IT, we have the strongest and most dedicated group of talented PhDs and professionals supporting our production and sales staff teams in this industry. And I am not exaggerating. That's the reason I came on board. But they've developed these technologies that can provide client reports literally at the touch of a button, that allows us to offer real-time data that drives the investment, acquisition, and financing decisions, and allows our team to operate really more as a trusted advisor and long-term fiduciary than any other competitors that are just out there hawking a single product for loans. So, I mean, we can provide multifamily. We have a huge hotel group. We have a dedicated sales group. We have, I think we have, Neda said, over 100 mortgage bankers. I think we're up to 175.
Wow.
It's just grown exponentially, while everyone else during the pandemic was downsizing. We were recalibrating, and I think our employees size, staff sizes almost doubled, including our group in India, which is over 1,000 employees. So there's just so much information we can provide to our borrowers, but we can also get very granular. And the thing that my team uses it the most for, is looking at comparable data. We can look at an analysis that a borrower says, I want to buy this property or I want to refinance. And we look at the metrics. We can say, well, look, we've got 3 properties down the street that we're servicing, and here's what the payroll should be at this property. Here's what the real estate taxes are going to be. Here are the real numbers. And so we can really add value that I don't think anyone else in the industry is able to. We also provide that data to our appraisers, which says a lot, because they're our third-party experts that tell us what the value is. But if we can, increase the value for our clients, that's just a win-win.
Yeah.
And also, I guess, as Laura was talking about, so basically what our tools are doing is they're really allowing us to visualize that data in such a way that it's really easily digestible, and you can easily see where your property might fit in comparison with the other properties that you're using to value your asset. So that's really important, is how the tools are helping us, dissect all the different insights that might come out of that data.
Well, I guess that's what loads of your clients, which obviously Berkadia's been going for years and years and years. So I reckon quite a lot of your clients are looking for a simple, easy to extract data, which they can just understand how do they make better investment decisions.
Hey, it's Michael Beckerman, CEO of Cretech and Cretech Climate. I hope you'll join us in Copenhagen for our first dedicated climate event on May 17th through the 19th. Only 200 of the world's leading sustainability professionals will be on hand at this event to connect, exchange ideas, and be inspired by world-class speakers. For more information, please visit our website, cretechclimate.com.
So you mentioned how your workforce doubled, which is incredible. What we've seen from our side, this is globally with other investment managers, global agencies, and so forth, is that there's where people are hiring you are like obviously very good data, skilled people, whether it's around the engineering, the data side, good sort of salespeople. Where's been the biggest growth, would you say, at Berkadia? Neda, is it in your team? Laura, you might be able to see it more like, I guess, a sort of macro level.
Yeah, so in Berkadia's technology team, we did have just an exponential growth over the last few years. Where we went from several teams to quite a few more in the last few years. And as at the producer side, we've had a tremendous growth there. I think the advantage is that Berkadia is a privately held company.
Yeah.
So if there's downturns in any way, we are able to take advantage of that and attract really good talent to the company to help us accelerate our vision.
No, that definitely makes a huge difference. Now, look, Laura, I'd love to hear a little bit more about you. Obviously, before everyone listening in, before we hopped on the call, Neda, Laura, and I had a quick sort of catch up, and I was trying to learn a little bit more about what really separates Berkadia from other businesses. And this isn't a podcast to just sell Berkadia, but I'm really interested in it, obviously, from a recruitment standpoint, and I hear what people are now looking for and candidates are looking for. It's not just about the base and the comms, it's way more. It's about the culture. It's like, what other stuff do they do to contribute to the community? Is it for different sort of programs, internships? What's the whole progression? What do they offer? And Laura was talking us through some really interesting initiatives which Berkadia's been working on over the past few years. So Laura, do you want to expand a little bit more about that and how you're engaging with people at different levels in, I guess, the education system?
Sure. Berkadia is, I think, again, very unique. We have an employee resource group called Be United. We have a summer internship program that we offer across the country that we coordinate with universities to bring in university students to learn more about what we do. And then most recently, and this is the thing that I'm most excited about because I've not seen this before, but we're participating in a work study program here in the Washington, D.C. area where I'm located, and with a local high school. And the young lady who is participating is earning a portion of her tuition from Berkadia. She's going to school. This girl is a go-getter, so to speak. She gets up at 5:30 a.m. every morning to go to school. She has a 90-minute travel to school each day. And one day a week, she comes in and works in our office. And she is interested in law and real estate. And so she has been just a breath of fresh air, especially after all of the time we've all spent at home during COVID. So it's nice to be back in the office to actually interact with people again, which we're getting rusty at, I think. At least I am.
And we also spoke about, a couple of initiatives which running. Everyone we celebrated was like a month and a half ago, International Women's Day. Obviously, as people I found, I'm super passionate about it. We've also got 2 women on this podcast, which I know I need to do more of, testing to that. But they have a few other things called like Be Berkadia as well, which, what does this sort of mean to you? How do you, obviously we all want, whether it's just a gender thing as well, it's different parts of diversity, we all know that. But like Laura and Neda, how do you attract people to your sort of teams? It's so important to obviously have balances, especially in businesses as large as you. What initiatives are sort of working at Berkadia at the moment?
So I think that one of the things that we wanted to highlight is the new DEIB initiative that Berkadia has launched. and really the management committee's commitment to diversity. One thing about diversity, and it's not just gender, obviously, but when you look at innovation, even if you look at vaccine development during COVID, for example, one of the things that people found is that teams that were comprised of diverse members from different backgrounds were actually more innovative, and they were able to create the vaccine faster. And it's just really important to have different backgrounds to be able to contribute to this innovation, right? So, Berkadia's commitment, it's not just about women, it's just, all backgrounds. But what we're trying to emphasize is to bring you to work. So just be yourself and have that freedom to express yourself as yourself so that you feel comfortable sharing your ideas and contributing to the innovation of anything. It could be maybe, mortgage banking products or investment sales. Like, how do you do that better? It could be really in any way that you could do innovation. So I think Berkadia's commitment and all the programs that we've recently launched will help attract more diverse talent to our team. So we're looking forward to that. Another thing we're doing is we're highlighting individual stories. I think sometimes it's really easy, like Laura was mentioning earlier, it's very easy for us to kind of dismiss people. But if we can kind of hear their personal stories on how they ended up where they are and how they got here, and really some of their background, and just to realize we're all humans and we're kind of going through the same journey and we want the same things. And so let's treat each other with dignity and respect, and also really take advantage of all the different ideas that we have.
Yeah, no, I completely echo that. Laura, is there anything which you'd like to add to that? As obviously someone fairly sort of senior and like very, I'm sure, huge amount of people in Berkadia sort of look up to you as well, and in your sort of career to date.
I think mentoring is one of the most important ways we can give back and make sure people are seated at the table. And I've mentored probably a dozen folks over the years. And there's a quote that Warren Buffett, I think it's up on his website. Every weekend I listen to one of his podcasts or his something that Warren Buffett, because he drives the integrity of our company, certainly, and the senior management. But he said something. He said, we're all sitting in the shade of trees that were planted by someone else a long time ago. And so I like to think that the mentors that I had back, when I started out in the business are, helped me. There are those trees, they planted those trees, and now I have to give back and do the same thing. So I think it's really, really important to mentor, and then to give folks flexibility, especially, if we've learned nothing else from COVID, we all have to learn to embrace change and be flexible with whatever comes our way. Because business is not usual, or there's no more normal. Nobody knows what the new normal is, right?
No,
we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out together. Yeah, and that's the fun part. If you have your teams, and you realize you're not alone. And I think COVID, isolated a lot of folks. And so I keep going back to COVID, but it just seems that it's still resonating, throughout the world. And depending on where you are, it's not over in certain places. And I guess we have to recognize that and say, we still have to be safe and smart about work. And but I'm excited to be back to work, honestly, just to practice people.
Yeah, 100%. I would completely echo that. Everyone listening in, I was just telling the ladies on the show that I was complaining about my sort of commute, which should be about 40 minutes, but was about 4 hours. But I've just been in the office for an hour and I got about 6 hours ahead of me. And it's so good to see all our teams together. And like, it's the collaboration part between our tech and our sales team. And you don't get that over Zoom. Exactly. It's so important. It's so much more fun, so much more energy, and it puts you in a better mood. It's about mental state as well, isn't it?
I agree. I have one more thing I wanted to add that I forgot that's really important as far as ways Berkadia is kind of differentiating itself. We, after COVID, we went to Sarasota back last November, and Neda and I were privileged enough to join, but it's a group that Berkadia sponsors called Women in Commercial Real Estate, Women in CRE. But it was a 2-day event, and we basically sat down and we had a reception dinner and a general session. One of the sessions was about women entrepreneurs who built their own empires. So we had some panelists from a couple of companies that came in and spoke to us. And then we talked about housing. We talked about, women who run the show, and panelists got up and talked about, what's good, what's bad, what's been ugly in their careers. And it was just really enlightening to hear everybody's story. As Neda said, everybody has a story. And it was just, again, it was the first event I had been to in person. And it was down in Florida, which made it even nicer because the weather was so good. But those kind of events that we do really kind of give back. And we had a lot of younger staff folks attend this past one because we wanted to make sure everybody got together and connected.
Yeah. I hope all those people listening are from all walks of life, all different sort of stages in their sort of careers. Some are like early real estate professionals, some are late stage, people in tech companies, some are founders, some are people investing into the space. But I think a lot of part of this podcast is obviously about communicating the real estate technology well, but it's also about educating people and saying, hey, you can look at this industry because there's all these new roles which are sort of merging, but also we need people from different walks of life for us to innovate within the built world. It's not just the old school traditional real estate boat. We need to change what we're doing and how we operate and run our buildings, our investment decisions and everything like that.
Hi, I'm Anthony Slumbers from the Real Innovation Academy, home of the Future-Proof Real Estate course, designed to accelerate your real estate career. To learn more, please visit realinnovationacademy.com/LMRE for details and a 25% discount.
Whilst on this topic, and Neda, this I think might be for you, Laura sort of touched on about, COVID is still here. Everyone went through a pretty hard time, but there have been good things to come from that. Plenty of innovation, loads of products. What sort of products are you working on? Is it all sort of internal? Do you have a team that's also looking at sort of external sort of products at Berkadia? Because it's obviously massive. So you're obviously working on a hell of a lot. So do you want to elaborate a little bit more for our audience?
Sure. Yeah. So we have a couple of different types of products and initiatives here at Berkadia. We do have a lot of internal tools, as I mentioned, data visualization tools to really drive that advisement strategy of our producers to help our clients be successful. We do also have another product called redIQ that is an external product that is really advancing how rent roll statements and operating statements are ingested and analyzed. Saves a lot of time and money, I guess, for our clients. And then we do also have an initiative internally that is working on, it's kind of like an incubator for tech startups in the real estate industry. I think that's really interesting that Berkadia started this. And the goal of this is to kind of not just understand the technologies out there, but bring all of those people together to cooperate and collaborate with each other, as well as really introduce them to some of our clients and help them grow, and maybe also help Berkadia grow. So it's really kind of a synergistic relationship that we have. My main role is to support the internal product development that I mentioned earlier. And again, the goal of that is to really help us make sense of the vast data that's out there to help our clients analyze deals faster. You'll hear a lot of times real estate investors, especially last year, you have to look at 200 deals to get one. So what we want to do is speed that process up and help them really move faster with less staff. One of our success stories that we have is when we have a client that looked at 400 deals with one analyst using redIQ, with our internal technology help, one analyst. So that's pretty incredible that they were able to look at that many deals and analyze those.
God, that's quite something, isn't it? You sort of think, what were we doing before?
Exactly. And we'll see how this develops in the future. I think real estate has been an industry that has been reluctant to technology innovation, a lot of it has been gut feelings and your intimate knowledge with the markets. But as you have seen real estate investors explore outside of their markets, they really need a lot more knowledge, and be able to gather that is very difficult right now. So that's what we're trying to do, is make that easier for them so that they can continue to expand beyond their current markets. But what I was trying to say is, like, where's this going to lead to? How much automation will come into where you can just look at your portfolio and we'll be able to tell you where you should move next. And should you sell your deal? Should you refinance your deal way before you even think about it? So I think that's the future. Future is where you have kind of very much automated intelligence in the back end.
Yeah.
Balancing your portfolio, similar to stock investments and how the financial market evolved. I think it's really our future.
I just wanted to echo Neda's words, but the data is so important. And I know I use this, I say this all the time, but it's a game changer. And owners and management companies are becoming much more savvy because of what we're offering them. And if you have not seen one of the decks that we put out, an information deck, I call it, I don't know sure what the official term is, but we look at a market. We'll go into Corpus Christi, Texas, for example, and we have a borrower who wants to build something there. We can look at the supply. We can look at the everything in the last 24 months that has been put in. We can look at what occupancy is, what lease absorption levels are, and we can look at an estimate of demand, rents, occupancy, expenses, you name it, we can do it. And we can put it into a 15 or 16 slide presentation, and we can go in and meet with a borrower and just really we can interact and go through they'll say, oh, I want to stop here. I want to look at something. And can you show me whether this is in an opportunity zone, for example? Can you do this? And we can do it all. We can even with these presentations, look at 10 different markets and say, here are the 10 markets you're looking in. Here's the one we think you should focus on, and here's why. So we're offering those types of insights now. Now, of course, you're always going to have to get out and kick the tires and meet the client and look at the property eventually. But this gives you can weed out so much. Neda said with redIQ, and we have clients that are really using redIQ. We're using a lot for rent roll reviews and data, but it can do so much more. And so that's just I think it's the icing on the it's just the top of the mountain that we're kicking at right now. But it's real exciting.
Yeah, no, it sounds like it. And I'm sure like a lot of your clients I'm sure some are probably maybe slightly more quicker to adopt redIQ. Some are sort of getting there. Some are probably getting a hell of a lot more out of it than others. Like, because it comes down to the adoption part, people really utilizing the technology. I think that's like what benefit you can do. Do you want to look at it? And then some must be like, yeah, sure, good idea. Some are amazed by it. Others are maybe on the fence. Have you seen some of that with your clients?
Yeah, the nonprofit borrowers who are more smaller, mom and pop oriented are really the ones that I'm trying to get to embrace this. Our larger clients who've got portfolios of 20 and more projects, they get it, but it's the smaller ones, and I think they're going to benefit the most. And once we get we get them to say that light bulb goes off, that's a real game changer for their industry and for their business, because they just are so much more efficient.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm conscious of timing. I can actually go on talking. I don't think we covered all our questions.
Hi, I'm Nelson from Property Quants. We run a hands-on, in-depth course that will teach you to apply data science and machine learning to real estate. To learn more, visit propertyquants.com/training. We also run a revolutionary course that will allow anyone to gain data science skills without needing to learn programming. To learn more about that, visit thenocodecourse.com. On either site, be sure to key in the code LMRE5 for a special 5% discount.
So why did we get to the final part of the podcast, and it's the LMRE part? So ours, one of you can go through what sort of main lesson you've learned throughout your career. Now the M is, give anyone, product, service, a shout out, could be something from redIQ. I don't know. R is what's been the most rewarding aspect of working in this space. And E is what are you most excited about for the future? So Laura, by the sounds of it, what you're most excited about is obviously getting back to the office and everything like that. But
continuing to embrace change and working with our technology group and Neda, because I think that's the future of our business, no doubt about it.
Agreed. Right. So now we've got E covered. Let's go to L. And who wants to answer this one? What's sort of the main lesson you've learned throughout your career? Laura and Neda, who wants to go for that one?
I guess I can go. The main lesson I've learned really is that you have to embrace the change, as Laura mentioned, but also go for it. Mm-hmm. Whatever you want to achieve, just act like you are already there and you just kind of get there. And that's how I kind of ended up in my product position is I just took over and started doing all of the work involved in the product role and just naturally evolve there. So I think that's the biggest lesson is don't sit back and wait for somebody to give it to you. Go for it, and it will come to you if you are really pushing forward.
Great. Complacency gets you nowhere. Right.
Exactly.
Who do you want to give a shout out to? A product, a service, a company? Who wants to go for this one? You both can be my guest.
I can do that. I've already, I can't tell you enough good things about our IT and product development team experts. With Neda, at the helm, the group is just incredible. They will develop things that I haven't even thought of to ask about or my clients. I mean, that's just how good they are. No, I'm serious. And then senior management, I have to say that they've made such an extraordinary commitment. Us being privately held, they are in it for the long run. Mm-hmm. So they're not looking, the greed factor's not there, although everybody, don't get me wrong, everybody wants to be profitable and make money, and Berkadia is very profitable, but they understand that by taking the long position and investing in this technology, right now, where it's costing a lot of upfront money, it's going to pay off even higher dividends in the future. And again, that's the vision of our leadership team and their philosophy and principles, their integrity. They're all so, you'd want to sit down and just, grab a beer with any one of them. They're just really down to earth people, and they're willing to take the time. And, if you've got a question or a problem, they will answer your calls. They'll return your calls.
Yeah.
I can't say that with other larger companies that, and smaller companies that I've worked with.
I want to second that as well. I do think that at Berkadia, one unique thing is that it's pretty flat hierarchically. So we do have access to our management, and they have been extremely supportive and also very much mentors to me in many ways. As Laura mentioned, mentorship is about giving back. They have really done a great job. Each one has provided different advice and support to me. So definitely want to give a shout out to our management committee.
God, you make me want to send my CV in. No, but it's great.
Come on over, Lisa. We'll take you.
And it's for any sort of innovation to come, it really does have to, I guess, the people that are pushing it forward, it often has to start with senior management that's being on board. But I feel like that's why so many larger businesses in real estate, no matter what size you are, often fall short if someone's not fully on board with it. You see businesses, you obviously have Dean Hopkins from Oxford Properties really sort of pushing it forward, the JL Technologies team. It's just so important because I think obviously the more junior people look up to the senior manager and saying, hey, what are they passionate about? What are they pushing for? And let's go more. And it creates this excitement, which is I don't know, it always comes
yeah.
Okay, so this is the last. We've done this in a funny order about whatever. So this is the last part. What's been the most rewarding part of working, say, in the real estate and technology space? You'll feel free to both answer this or just one of you.
Cool. Well, I'll start. The most rewarding part is really seeing that client face when they see the technology and how they are seeing how valuable it will be to them. It's really priceless. I just came back from an event in Portland, Oregon, We had over 40 clients together, and we did a little presentation of our technology to them, and just their engagement with it. A lot of times when you're in those presentations, you see people, checking their phone or looking, doing whatever else, but I could tell their engagement. They were also excited, and just really it's the possibilities of what it can be and it will be. And that's really been like the most rewarding, is to see our products bringing value to our clients.
Awesome.
Right. Laura, is there anything else you want to add to that?
I do want to add one thing that I think is really important that we haven't really touched on, but we have a whole group on the IT side that's also doing training for all the mortgage bankers and sales folks. My team has just recently reached the top level, the gold level. So we've done 6 videos, I've done a couple of podcasts and different things. But I think for me, the most rewarding thing is growing my team, watching the underwriters I'm working with that I've been helping to mentor with deals we've been working on, watching them grow and get to the next level and that next level. And then us going out during COVID, the only way we could get in touch with our clients and really see them other than doing Zoom and team calls. I was going and doing pitches in front of buildings that had recently stabilized, because I do a lot of HUD insured government financing. And there was a new program a new announcement that was made that allowed me to do something that I couldn't do before for financing projects that had recently stabilized. And so it was a big, big deal. So I got a call from a client of mine. He said, "You did that video, you're standing right in front of my building." And I said, "I know." And he said, "Well," I said, "You called me, didn't you?" And it's just again, watching, but I had a whole staff of people helping me do these videos and learn how to do them, because it's not easy. What you do is not easy. I mean, I'm just going to say, you make it look easy, but it's not.
No, agreed. Well, look, ladies, Laura and Neda, it's been such a pleasure. Well, getting to know you both a little bit more, and also hearing a lot more about Berkadia. I think a lot of things that you're talking about, our audience will be listening in, taking notes, and also can probably gone through similar sort of pain, but also going through a similar sort of journey. It's great to hear all the changes you're making to your business. Hopefully, I'm going to be out in the States soon. I'll be going to RealCom. I'll see you probably at some other events. But thank you both for joining the podcast, and really looking forward to catching up with you both after the show. Thank you for joining us this week on the Propcast, and a big thanks to our guests and our sponsors, Cretech and ReamTech. Make sure you visit our website, lmre.tech, where you can subscribe to our newsletter, keep up with our industry news and events, or if you're looking for your next career move, it's all on there. The Propcast can be found on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube, where all good content is found. Whilst we're at it, if you found value in the show, we'd appreciate it if you could spread the word and tell a friend about it, or even write us a review. And I'll catch you next week.
Making a high-quality podcast like this takes a lot of work. That's a fact. But not when you hire Copus. With our white glove experience, we handle everything for you. From guest outreach all the way through to publishing and promotion, we handle it all. You show up to hold great interviews and build relationships with your guests, and we take care of everything else. Podcasting is not just about the audience. Every podcast interview is the start of a new relationship. With a weekly podcast, you would build relationships with 52 ideal partners or prospects through your podcast interviews over the next 12 months. Do you believe that 52 new relationships would grow your business? We do. Contact Jason at Copus, Kopus.com, and let's talk.